Welcome to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast, where you learn how to accelerate the growth of your online and offline businesses, profits, and personal income. Tune in daily to get the tips, tricks, and tactics that have generated over $100 million in online and offline sales. Now, here's your host, Anthony Flatt.
I'm Anthony Flatt, and you're listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about getting the help you need. When we're running our businesses, oftentimes we like to do everything ourselves, and everybody knows that that's not the best use of our time. We need to be utilizing our time on the things that we're really good at. There's a great book called Good to Great, and in that book, it talks about being good at what you're good at. And really, to excel today in today's ever-changing world, you really need to be able to focus on the things that you're really good at and then outsource or delegate everything else to other people that would be good at doing those other tasks. Now, I do that for a lot of my businesses through hiring contract workers, virtual assistants, programmers, designers, graphic artists, video and audio editing folks, and so forth. I've had companies, I've had offices, I've had employees. Personally, I think employees generally suck. They eat up your time. They're there to punch the clock. They're not invested in your success. So really, for me, it seems to work best for me to just go ahead and hire some outside contractor, some outside worker to do the things that I need to do. Now, I do have some partners. I have some partnerships. If I have some specific skills and there's somebody else that has some specific skills and when we match up really well, we might actually partner on a project and I do X, Y, and Z and he does A, B, and C or she does A, B, and C because I also have female partners too. We'll do that. We'll partner where we'll each share and then we'll sometimes also still have to hire outside workers to help us with various parts of whatever the project is. And I want to talk today about getting that help because I've made a number of mistakes along the way, and I'm probably not done making mistakes, but I've come to learn a few things, tricks or tips or what have you, that I think you might find helpful. Now, there's a lot of places you can go to find outsourced workers that will work either by the hour or by the project. You can find some of them that will work on a really small project, like you need a book cover designed or a CD cover designed or a logo designed. You can go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. And, they say you can get anything done for $5, but with everything, the economy is going up. So now it is Fiverr and it is $5. But if you look out there, it's $5 and they'll deliver in 2 weeks. If you want it any faster than that, it's going to be more money. If you want the original files, it's going to be more money. If you want to make changes, it's going to be more money. So, Fiverr is still relatively inexpensive. Just don't think it's going to be specifically $5. It might end up costing you $20 or $30 to get something done, depending on what the task is, but it's probably still worth it. So you can go out there and you can get people to do some very basic, very simple things. And then you can also go to places like Odesk, Odesk.com, or freelancer.com, or elance.com, or guru.com, peoplebythehour.com. These are all contracting sites where you can create an account, put your information in, and then you can create a job posting for the project that you need. And you can put your information in there and then you can post it and people will apply, to your job. You can also search through their contract workers to see if you can find people that meet your criteria, and you can send those people an invitation to apply for your position, or you can, send them a note or an email. So those are all great sites, but know that those sites are in business to make money, and they make money when they book out a contract worker. So their job is to get you to buy something, to get you to buy one of the workers. Yes, they want you to be happy because they want you to come back and use them again, but they're not really looking out for your best interest. They don't really care if your project gets done on time and the way you want it to. They don't want it to be an awful experience because then you'll post something negative on their website, and they want you posting something positive. And some of the websites are pretty aggressive at asking you repeatedly to give them a rating. And, for me, you keep badgering me to give you a rating, I'm going to give you a poor one. But anyhow, here's a couple of things that you need to know when trying to get these workers or get people to be able to do the jobs. I mean, you can hire the minute you put a post out there, especially if you're not very detailed and very specific about what you want. If you put a post out there that says, I'm looking for a web designer, you're going to get 200 or 300 people that reply to your web designer post. And they're going to be all price ranges from under $5 an hour to several $100s an hour and everywhere in between in every skill set. What I've learned is while it takes you a lot more time to think about and to write down and to document what you're looking for, I have found that it's better to be very, very, very specific about what you're looking for. And so I'll go and I will just basically put my wish list together of everything I could possibly want. And I've hired, I don't know, across all of the different contracting sites, probably 100 different workers in the last 5 years. And I think I can only remember one time that I've ever created a job that nobody applied to, that I was so specific that nobody applied to it. And I think it was a combination of being very, very specific, not being willing to pay very much, having a very short timeline. So I went and tweaked it and edited it and add a little bit more money to it, cut back on a few of the things I was looking for, loosened up the timeline a little bit, and I got plenty of people. But you really do want to be specific, and you do really want to look at the people's credentials, the jobs that they've done, and ask them very specifically for examples of the work that they've done and or references from the people that they've worked for. A lot of the contractors will send you pictures of websites as an example of some web development that they've done. And then you kind of dig down a little bit deeper and you find out that for that website, they converted a PDF into a graphic and that graphic's on the main page. Okay, well, you showing me that website is an example of your web programming experience. That's not really truthful. You created a graphic out of a PDF. You loaded a PDF in Photoshop and you saved it as a JPEG. That's not the same thing. And that happens all the time. And that's happened to me many, many times. And I'm terrible about detailing what it is I want. I know in my head what I want. I think I've got it narrowed down. And then I post it out there. And then I start talking to people. And I realize that just from the conversations, usually it's a text conversation over Skype. Although I do physically talk to people that have English skills that are good enough to have a good conversation with. I find out that they're asking me questions that really they shouldn't be asking me based on what I'm looking for, but maybe because I did not spell it out correctly for them. And then I'll go and edit it and add those things and find those things. A couple of the things that I've done also, and I think I'm going to do more of this as well, is I've not been super successful hiring people by the hour, especially for big jobs. I've always wanted and hoped to have, kind of that right-hand person, that wingman, that person that can kind of shadow me, and they know what's going on. They know what my businesses are. They know all the different things that I've got up in the air that I'm juggling, and that I could just hand things off to them. And while I'm busy trying to keep everything else going, they can be working on those specific projects, those specific things, and knocking those things out. But here's the challenge with that. I run into having to pay somebody by the hour to explain to them what my business is, to explain to them what I'm doing, to explain to them the philosophy behind why I do the things the way I do them, and then teaching them the tools that I use to do what I do, and then teaching them how to do some of the things that I have strategically, planned to do moving forward. I end up spending lots of hours teaching them how to do what I do rather than them helping me do what I do. So I've been more successful in just putting projects out there and saying, I want to get X done and I'm willing to pay Y for it. And I put it out there at a low rate and then I see what I get back. And if I don't get the kind of people back that I want, I raise the rate up and put it back out there and see what I get the next time. I've not been successful going and, people say you get what you pay for. And that is true to a point. But on these contracting sites, there's a lot of people that believe and know that some people will hire somebody that's at a higher rate just because they're at a higher rate, assuming that means that they can get that amount and that they're successful getting that amount. And you need to really go and look at what jobs are they currently working on, what jobs have they worked on in the past, how much money have they made, how many jobs have they done, how successfully have they done those jobs, what was their ratings from the employers, and really figure out if that person's worth that money. I usually find that I don't feel that they are. I would much rather take somebody who's a junior level person and have them charging me a low rate for a contract job. I'll pay you $50 to edit these videos, or I'll pay you $12 to transcribe this 40-minute audio, whatever the job is. And when they do that job well, then I give them another job. And when they do that job well, I'll give them another job. And I have, of the 100 or so contractors that I've used, I probably have no more than a dozen that I go back to on a regular basis. And that's about 10%. That's a lot of trial and error. I would say most of that 90% not being a good fit was on me not being very specific, not being demanding on what it is I'm looking for. So many people come in and say, I can do this, that, and the other thing. But, I was lazy and I didn't really go and research and see, have they been doing that? Is that on their profile? And then later on, when I find out that, no, they can't get that done. They don't understand. They understand conceptually what it is you're trying to do. They don't understand physically how to make that happen, how to connect the dots, how to do that, how to make the software do what it needs to do, how to create the code, how to write the sales page, whatever it is. They know enough to talk about it, but they don't know enough to actually be able to do it. And then I'm going to wrap up here quick with this because this is getting kind of long. But when you do find those people that work for you and work well for you, take care of them. Get them more work with your friends. Help them. I've got one or two that I pay a retainer to. I pay them in advance so that they're there and available. My work kind of goes to the front of the queue whenever I work with them. And even as much as partner with them, help them build their business. Maybe you write an audio for them. Maybe you do some sales copy for them. Maybe you create a product for them. Really take care of those folks. I'm, again, not a big proponent of paying them more and more and more and more, because eventually I get to the point where I can't afford them anymore. And if they can go get that money on a regular basis, they really need to do that. And, eventually people are probably going to either keep growing their skills and abilities and helping me create more and more revenue so that I can afford to pay them, or we're going to have a crossroads where what they're doing for me, I can now get done cheaper, or they can now charge more for their time than what I'm capable or willing to pay. So take care of them. You don't have to always pay them money. There's a lot of other things that they would prefer. Get them business, help them grow their business, help them understand, buy tools for them. I've done that. I've went out and bought video editing software and templates and things that my workers need that they can use for other customers, not just me. So make sure that you take care of those folks. But get the help that you need, but really be picky and specific about what you're looking for, and spend the time to really think about what it is you're looking for. Try to boil it down to a specific task or job. Try some people on contract, $50 and do this job. And if they do that, then do another. The by the hour thing hasn't worked out real well for me. I'm still hoping that maybe it will. I've got a couple folks that I'm working with like that now. We'll see how that all pans out. But definitely go out and get the help that you need, because there's experts out there in everything. Don't think you need to spend the next 2 weeks learning something when you can spend $50 or $100 and have somebody just teach you how to do it, or do it for you, or show you how they're going to do it for you. So definitely go get the help you need, and don't delay. Don't think that you have to learn everything yourself. Be good at what you're good at.
If you have a question for Anthony, then head over to www.anthonyflatt.com and leave him a voicemail message for a chance to have your question featured on the show. Thanks for listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast at www.businessatthespeedofsell.com.